Well, I was going through some personal things. I had some family members, specifically my mom, who was a little bit concerned when she finally found out the extent of what I was going through. She at first she had gave me the number to this pastor, was telling me that I should call him, and talk to him, maybe we could pray together and stuff like that. I was like, yeah, maybe I'll do it when I get a chance, man.
Sure.
I kind of wasn't in a hurry, but she kept on nagging me, every other day. Did you call him yet? Did you call him yet? I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna call him, but I'm busy right now. When I was really just busy, about a few weeks after that, she gave me a number to this place that she said she's in a commercial for. And she was like, yeah, I heard they help with addiction, mental illness, and other things of that nature. She was like, why don't you give them a call? I was like, okay, I'll do that. It took me probably like about 3 or 4 days before I finally got around to calling. When I called the number, I talked to a lady named Amber in California, and we talked for about 45 minutes to an hour. She was describing the place to me, and I kind of liked what I heard. So she kind of said, if you want to come down, She checked my insurance information to see if it would approve it. It did. So she was like, when you're ready to come, we can bring you on down. In less than a week, I was here. I was just in a dark place. I was abusing some substances. I was really going through it, I kind of kept it to myself. I was internalizing it. I didn't really express it to my family, my co-workers. I was able to, maintain a steady job and everything, but outside of that, it was really tearing me apart. I was really at the point of taking myself off of this earth, if you get my meaning. And that was a real dark period for me, I don't think it could have been any worse than that. It was mainly due to past issues, me not being able to control my emotions or handle them correctly. And it was just I was scared and I was ashamed. I felt like I didn't have anybody when that couldn't even have been remotely the case. I had more people in my corner than I thought I did. No, I haven't,
Okay.
but I have heard different things about other treatment programs. I've heard that some are a little bit more stricter. You don't have as much freedom. You kind of maybe have to be confined to a room all day, and you don't get to have headphones, and food isn't as good, Not to say that the food here is, 5-star or anything like that, but I look at it like, you get 3 square meals, they provide what they can, what they're given to work with, I work in the food industry, so I can understand what they're going through. So, as far as it compares to others, I wouldn't know, but as far as this being the first one that I've been to, I've been more than satisfied. The techs were very friendly, I kind of hit it off with a few of the techs almost immediately, namely Jeremy and Nicole, they were very welcoming. Some of the other residents came up to me, was like, how you doing? They introduced themselves, asked me how I was doing, asked me what my name was, we exchanged names, and the intake process was quick and simple. I think it was just me kind of stepping out on a leap of faith to see what it was going to be like, Like I said, I came down here on my own free will, and I just knew it was going to be something different and something that could potentially save my life. I think that I came down here for the specific purpose of getting sober. I wanted good therapy. I wanted people who would listen, people who would, be objective, and not subjective in the fact that, people who already know me and kind of, would maybe have certain feelings just depending on our relationship. And I think that my therapist, the one-on-one sessions and meetings, with the people that come in from NA, AA, and CA, hearing them share their testimonies of strength and messages of hope and recovery, was a huge asset for me. You know what I mean? It gave me a lot of hope. You know what I mean? And being able to pray every night. You know what I mean? Having that sense of camaraderie with the other residents. You know what I mean? In spite of some of the crazy things that went down, I feel like we're one big dysfunctional family, you know, but we it works if you work it. That's the main thing. It works if you work it. So I came down here to work it, and I was given the tools necessary, and I feel like I did a pretty damn good job. The group therapy, I just try to take it all in, you know what I mean, because the brain is a wonderful tool. You know, you can there's so many different file cabinets, you know what I mean? You store information and then you just pick and choose it, you know, whenever a situation arises, and you got that to fall back on. So it's like just different pieces I use to add to my skill set. I liked a lot of, you know, brain and wellness was good. You know, anxiety and depression was good. Stress vulnerability model was good. But the sex and intimacy, though, man, it was like, it kind of like dealt, the way that it kind of delves, and when people actually take it seriously is when you really get something out of it. You know, when people can get over the fact that it's a touchy subject and just open up, you know what I mean? And I got a lot of it because I look back in past incidences, you know what I mean, but sexual encounters that may have had certain affects on me that I wasn't quite aware was there, until actually bringing it out in the open and venting, and having professionals, you know what I mean, run it back to me from what they gathered, you know, and I'm like, yeah, you know, this makes a lot of sense. So I think it'll benefit me a great deal in the long run, you know, in my intimate encounters and other relationships as well. Typical day, you know, they come knocking on the door, you know what I mean? 6 o'clock in the morning, wake up, I'm still in the bed like, here we go again, you know what I mean? So I'll lay there, you know what I mean, another hour or so. Sometimes I sleep through the first breakfast call and be like, hey, you gonna come eat breakfast, you know what I mean? Breakfast ready. I'm like, okay, you know. Get up, go eat breakfast around 7:15. You know, you have morning meeting, 8 o'clock. Once I moved up to PHP, come on over here to this place, you know what I mean? It's like a classroom setting where they have the groups, you know what I mean? The big open space, go out there and take a nap in between the groups and stuff like that. Go eat lunch, then go on back over to Riverside and meander around, you know what I mean? Play some basketball or do some push-ups or read, you know what I mean? You kind of get more free time than what I was expecting. I wasn't expecting as much downtime, but it's just about what you do with it, though. If you use it in productive ways to that directly pertains to why you're here, I think that's when you'll get the most out of it. But if you walk around here moping like, oh, there's nothing to do, I'm bored, they gotta give me something to do, you know. My motto is a person is only bored if they're boring, you know what I mean?
That's a good one.
And I'm not a boring person, you know what I mean? I can always find something to do. I grew up as the only child, so I had to find ways to entertain myself. And plus the fact that I'm into a lot of different things, I consider myself to be a Renaissance man, so I can always find something to do. I can read, I can sit back and play a game of chess, I can exercise, I can run, I can go stare at the water, you know what I mean? There's a lot of different things that I can gather entertainment and solace in. So overall, you know what I mean? It's it can be long, but depending on the individual, what you do with it will define how much you enjoy it. The one-on-one sessions, by far, you know what I mean? My therapist, he's a great guy, man. You know, he helped me so much. He was a big benefactor in my recovery process, and always will be, because I'm going to take, you know, a lot of things that he shared with me for the rest of my life. And that was just, you know, I can't even put it into enough, I can't even heap enough superlatives on the man. A number of things, but overall, I think that if you really are serious about your recovery, you have to want it, because nobody's going to give it to you. Nobody has like a magic word, or like they can put a magic cloak over you to heal you and say, you are now healed, you are no longer this or that, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? I said I'm alcoholic, you know, I'm always going to be one. You know what I mean? The only thing that separates me from where I was and to where I am now is one drink, you know. So it just came down to the point where I had to want it bad enough, and this place right here provides and gives people the tools they need to be able to beat, not necessarily beat, but overcome their problems and help them reach their optimal level of function. You know what I mean? And then it's up to that person, you know what I mean, to instill that and keep it fresh in their mind and figure out new ways to keep it going. Because in order to stay sober, you have to want to stay sober, and it's easier to stay sober than it is to get sober. So once you get sober, you stay sober, and the key for me is living sober. This place gives you the tools to get sober and stay sober. Once you get out of here, you have to use those tools that you were given here to live sober. I will tell them it's a nice place to come. You know, if you really are ready to work the program, you know, you got to be ready to follow some discipline, because it's a structured environment. There's certain things that you may want to do that you won't be able to do at first, but I'm telling you, it's all for your own good. If you are really ready and you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, this is a good place to come. The therapists are great, the counselors are great, and there's people here who genuinely do care. I would recommend it to anybody. You know what I mean? Like I said, this is a place I'm going to miss certain things about it, but I said that the only way I'll come back here is if I come down here as a visitor or to speak. I'll never be in here as a resident again, but it's thanks to this place why I say that, and I can say it with all sincerity.